My name is Tammy, and I'm 39 years old. I've been working in the sales department of a trading company for many years. Since I was a student, I've always been good at leading groups and bringing people together. Now, I manage several team members, and my sales performance is just as good as the experienced male team members. My female colleagues trust and support me as a reliable manager, which makes me proud. However, when I come home to my apartment after a long day at work, there's no one to welcome me. I recently separated from my husband of 17 years and decided to live apart from my 15-year-old daughter. My new apartment is still full of unpacked boxes, but I don't regret my decision. I'm ready to start fresh. Let me explain why I chose this new life. I used to live with my husband Bob and our daughter Rebecca. Bob was a college classmate, and after meeting again post-graduation, we dated for 2 years before getting married. Bob worked in the sales department of a printing company but later became a self-employed web designer, working from home. Our daughter Rebecca is in 8th grade. The first sign of trouble was her changing attitude. One day, she said to me, "I told you to buy the moisturizing cream." I apologized, saying I forgot but would get it after work. She responded, "You're totally useless. I can't believe it." Her words became harsher each day, and she looked at me with cold eyes. I told myself it was just her age. Bob's behavior changed too. He started spending more time with Rebecca and excluded me. They planned outings together without me and asked me for money, which felt excessive. Even Bob began treating me poorly, and our conversations dwindled, making me feel isolated. One Sunday, Bob and Rebecca complained about breakfast. I had prepared breakfast when Bob snapped, "What the hell is this? I always tell you I want my eggs over easy. Get it right." I tried to calm him down. "Well, there's no need to be so upset." Rebecca chimed in, "And the soup doesn't taste good. Didn't I tell you before that I hate mushrooms?" I responded, "But they're good for you." Then, I asked Bob, "Can't you say something to her?" Bob replied coldly, "What do you mean? It's your fault for not being able to do a single thing you're told. And you're supposed to be an adult." Their cold words made me realize something was off. I wanted to know why. By the time I figured it out, it was already too late. One week, I learned Bob was planning to go out, so I decided to secretly follow him. Since Bob worked from home, he had no reason to go out, making me suspicious. My fears came true. At a cafe, Bob met a young woman in her 20s with a good figure. When they left, they walked arm in arm. I felt dizzy and couldn't follow them. The day I dreaded had arrived. I had always been afraid Bob might run off with another woman because I lacked confidence in my looks. Bob, on the other hand, was undeniably handsome, making me wonder why he chose me. Later, I hired a detective to investigate Bob's relationship with the woman. The detective revealed that Bob's mistress was a 26-year-old named Sofia Garcia who worked at a cosmetic surgery clinic. Among the evidence photos, there were explicit ones of them kissing and entering a hotel. Shockingly, some photos included Rebecca. "What's going on? What does this mean?" I asked the detective. "It appears that your husband's relationship with Sophia is approved by Rebecca," he replied. I was dumbstruck, feeling an acute sense of alienation and loneliness. What had I done to deserve this? Holding back tears, I asked the detective to record conversations between Bob and Rebecca. They would take money from me to enjoy their movie dates and shopping sprees. I was certain there must be undeniable evidence in their banter. Days later, I listened to the recordings. I was speechless. "She's seriously annoying. She can't even follow simple instructions and then tries to play the mother card," Rebecca said. "While she is technically your mom, why don't you just dump her already?" "Sophia has been waiting patiently, hasn't she?" Bob replied. "About that, Rebecca, I'm thinking it's still too soon to think about divorce." "That doesn't make any sense. Sophia has been waiting, right? I've talked it through with Sophia. I just can't stand breathing the same air as that ugly woman." "Same here, but she earns the money, more than me, frustratingly so." "You get it, right?" "Is that so? I didn't really know." "Yeah, that's how it is. If I divorce her carelessly, I won't be able to use that money. We've got to play this carefully. So we just pull out all the money we can, and then let Sophia move in." "That's right. I need to check if Sophia can handle that kind of life, and if not, I'll have to persuade her. I think Sophia will be fine. She's so understanding. Beautiful women are just different, you know." "Yeah, I know. I regret it so much. The biggest mistake of my life was marrying that ugly woman." That day, under a hot shower, I wept copiously. I cried and cried until I finally made up my mind. Enough was enough. If that was their plan, so be it. I'm not stupid. Rather than let them take advantage of me, I decided it was time to take serious action. I remember the tough weeks that followed. Each day, I suppressed my emotions and proceeded with my preparations. Even when Rebecca's middle school graduation day arrived, I felt no profound emotions. Oh my gosh, I can't decide on a hairstyle. It's so frustrating. Who gave me this face, seriously? Rebecca complained, looking in the mirror. She was the spitting image of me. I pretended to ignore her usual grouchy remarks. Then she said, "Hey, I need some money. Around $400 will do." What's a kid gonna do with $400? Besides, today is your graduation ceremony, isn't it? Well, obviously, because it's graduation, I'm going out with friends afterward and eating out with Dad too. In the end, I handed Rebecca the $400. This is the last time, I thought as I did so. Rebecca took the money without a word of thanks and said, "Hey, I'm gonna get plastic surgery soon." Plastic surgery? Yeah, I'm saying goodbye to this ugly face that looks just like yours. I can't wait for a total transformation before high school starts. Okay. I'm surprised. I thought you would be much more against it. What a letdown. Well, I won't say anything. It's your body, Rebecca. Yeah, you know what I mean, right? It's only natural to want to get plastic surgery with a face like this. It's your fault. Afterward, I drove Bob and Rebecca to her middle school. Rebecca made me stop the car a little before we got to the school. Dad and I will get off here. You can go home. You know I don't want my friends to see you, right? Of course, I replied and went home. I had no interest in attending the ceremony. Everything went as planned, which felt quite nice. I returned to the apartment and waited. A truck and 3 men arrived. All right, we'll pack and move things out. Given the amount of stuff, I think we should be done in about 2 hours. Thank you, I appreciate your help. That day, I moved to a new apartment, leaving the divorce papers on the table of the old apartment. I had put in a vacation request at work and toured several places domestically, savoring the rare freedom. Perhaps I could have enjoyed it more without the persistent calls from Bob and Rebecca. A few days later, I returned to the new apartment, all rested for my journey. When I finally answered one of Bob's incessant calls, he sounded flustered. "You finally answered. Hey, where are you? What are you doing?" "I'm just relaxing in my room, watching TV." "What is it? You sound so flustered. Is something wrong?" "What do you mean, is something wrong? What do you mean by your room? Explain yourself properly." "There's no need to explain. You saw it, didn't you? The divorce papers, that's all. No explanation is needed, right? So, you knew about your what? If you mean your affair." "I knew. I have no intention of breaking up. I figured with your income you can't support Rebecca, but tough luck. I'm getting divorced and taking alimony too." "Who says I'm going to pay alimony? We should talk about this matter calmly." "Oh yes, you can bring Rebecca along or not. It doesn't matter to me. I didn't really want to see them anymore, so I abruptly ended the call, turned off my phone, and cut off contact. I chose the cafe where Bob first met Sophia for our discussion, but only Bob came. There was no sign of Rebecca. She must be fresh out of plastic surgery, poor girl. "Who's that with you?" Bob asked. "This is my attorney, Mr. Johnson." "You brought a lawyer? Well, did you bring the filled out divorce papers as I asked?" "As I've said, I won't fill out such a thing. I'll tell you as many times as it takes. I have no intention of breaking up. Do you just want the money? Do you think we can continue our marriage for that reason?" "Who said I'm after your money? Who said it? You're making assumptions about people's feelings," I retorted. I gave Mr. Johnson a nod. He took out his smartphone and calmly pressed play. What started to play was a conversation between Bob and Rebecca from that day. Bob's face turned pale instantly. "It's quite something to have your own bad mouthing played out right in front of you. I don't want to breathe the same air as that ugly woman. If I carelessly break up with her, I won't be able to use the money." Bob's voice echoed. No matter how many times I hear them, those harsh words cut right through my heart. Knowing that this is his true feeling sends chills down my spine. A recording? What the hell do you think you're doing? What am I doing? I think I should be the one to ask that. Did you use the money I gave you to go out with that woman, Sophia? That's not exactly. Mr. Johnson interrupted. May I confirm something? You don't intend to divorce, correct? Bob nodded, and Mr. Johnson continued. In that case, we will file for divorce with the family court. We can also discuss the division of assets. The court will hear the circumstances and verify the facts to decide whether or not the divorce should proceed. He held up the smartphone. The conversation with your daughter earlier is quite decisive. In my personal opinion, the divorce is almost certain. Oh, Bob stammered. I came here today to talk about what comes next. I started taking out various documents. This chart shows how much money I gave you and when. This one is a record of utility bill payments. What the hell? What are you showing me all this for? And this is a record of money withdrawn from our joint account. Rebecca's surgery cost quite a bit, didn't it? Eyelid surgery, eye shape correction, double eyelid surgery, nostril reduction, philtrum reduction, creating tear bags, cheek and nasal bone shaving. The surgeries totaled $40,000. There's only about $20,000 left in savings. There used to be $70,000. You've spent quite a bit, haven't you? That was for Rebecca. I could save up again. Do you realize that I was the one who mostly saved up that money? I'm really starting to get angry. I'm okay with splitting what's left in the account for the division of property. I won't say anything about Rebecca's surgery costs. However, what? Bob interrupted. I expect you to pay for the emotional distress I've suffered, so keep that in mind. And wait, there's more. Have you kept in touch with that woman, Sophia? No, not really. That's what I thought, because, well, I hired a private investigator to look into her. She's got a criminal record, so you better be careful. A criminal record? She was charged with fraud and was arrested. She was in cahoots with the director of another cosmetic surgery clinic. What the? She must have thought you and Rebecca were easy targets. My condolences. Rebecca? What about Rebecca's surgery then? I hope everything went well. Otherwise, we might have to negotiate with the hospital. Might even have to sue them. We'll have to see whether the clinic would agree to a settlement. In that case, there are many dishonest clinics that deny their mistakes and dig in their heels. Hearing Mr. Johnson's words, Bob's face noticeably turned pale. That's all for today. Send the divorce papers, okay? Direct them to Mr. Johnson since I obviously won't be giving you my address. Wait, please. One last thing. Can you lend me some money? Bob looked pitiful. I'm ashamed I ever fell for such a man. Absolutely not. I left the cafe with Mr. Johnson, leaving a devastated Bob behind. According to rumors, Bob and Rebecca's life turned into a complete mess afterward. On Bob's salary alone, it was hard to afford an apartment and support Rebecca. Eventually, Rebecca had to start doing odd jobs like newspaper delivery, and they moved to a cheaper apartment, downgrading their living standard with just his web design projects. He couldn't make ends meet and even had to take up day labor. Pitiful, really. But Bob must pull through. After all, he hasn't finished paying my alimony yet. I decided to let him pay it off in installments. Paying out $30,000 all at once would have been impossible for Bob, given his small business, which barely covered his side income. Borrowing money would have been out of the question too. I could have let him borrow money from a loan shark, but I didn't want to put that much pressure on him. A few days later, I received a call from Rebecca. As expected, the surgery was a total failure. It was far from ideal. Rebecca and I met at the cafe and had a long chat after not seeing each other for a long time. She still had bandages on part of her face. The surgery left marks, and I need another operation to remove them. It's the worst. Still can't get in touch with that Sophia girl, huh? Yeah, you were right, Mom. She only saw us as easy targets. Rebecca stared out the window, a far-off look in her eyes. She seemed more mature to me than before. Well, I gotta go now. I have to go to my part-time job and do my high school homework afterward. I'm really busy. Good luck. Thanks, Mom. I'm really sorry for all the trouble I've caused. No need to be polite all of a sudden. I won't give you any money. Okay, I won't ask for it anymore. With a wave, Rebecca left the cafe. And that's how I ended up where I am today. I don't have many regrets. I'm satisfied with my current life. Rebecca is practically living on her own now, and I have no lingering feelings for my good-for-nothing ex-husband who had nothing going for him except his looks. I saw him the other day in town. He was covered in dirt, working in construction gear with a helmet. Did he always have such gloomy eyes? He looked so different I barely recognized him. Making a living is hard work, and he deserved to be in such a pitiful state after wasting so much money. It's not all about looks. I truly believe that now. I will continue to do my best as I am. In my eyes, the future now looks brighter than ever as I've hit the reset button on my life.